What is I know reading your book and your work, you do mention the spirit, body, mind, spirit, this holistic
Yes.
approach. So
Mhm.
what is the spiritual part of the human being? How do you connect that within your own life and your clients?
Well, I think I always understood spirit, even as a young child. I was raised a Catholic. I went to Catholic school. And I think that was the special aspects of my education from early on, that there was a God and that I had a guardian angel. And so
Yeah.
that's how I grew up in my home. And it was supported by through my education. We took religion classes every day, up and
Right.
through till the 12th grade in high school. So I learned about it, but as I grew older, I adapted it to my life. And as you were talking about, to nature and to what's going on in the world. It's like you could go to the church on the top of a mountain and go
Yeah.
to the mass there in your own mind. It didn't have to
Mm,
be in a
mm,
building. And
yeah.
so that was part of my life, and to communicate with the spirit world that I now call universe.com. I can tune into it. And so to know about the saints, to know about spiritual beings, the archangels that
Yeah.
I feel have been in my life since early childhood. So that's how I know my world. And I know some other people don't see it that way, but I incorporated into my life from a very young age. I went to first grade when I was 5 years old, so that's when I was indoctrinated into this idea that
Ah.
God's with you no matter
Mm,
where you go. And I used to think it when I was a small child. I would sit in the back of the Catholic church under the choir loft because that's where they put the first graders, and I wouldn't know that there was anything in the church. All these taller people were sitting in front of me,
mhm.
and the eighth graders were in the first row, and I was in the last row of the church. And I remember just listening to the priest and these great stories. I didn't know they were Bible stories. I just thought they were stories about Jesus and the loaves and the fishes and all this.
Yeah.
And once the priest said that God is light, and since I couldn't see anything, I used to pray to the chandelier that was hanging above me because I thought God was in the light.
Yeah. That is really cute. And how do kids, teenagers, and children these days, how do they see this concept, this idea of spirituality or what the spirit is?
When I work with teenagers, say for a sport, I always incorporate it, like for the sport of wrestling,
Yeah.
and I even teach the coaches this, that it's a holistic sport. It's not just a
Mm,
physical sport, like
mm,
any sport, actually like football or soccer, because everybody knows the moves. Everybody knows how to initiate a takedown or to hit the ball on the baseball field.
right.
But what about the rest of the person? And even though you have skills like the physical skills, you could get injuries. But you
Yeah.
need to use the power of your mind with the mental rehearsal, seeing yourself, getting that takedown. And it's very important to use your mind. And that goes beyond the brain because the mind doesn't
Mm,
have a physiological position inside your skull,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
the mind is throughout the physical body. So that involves muscle memory. And when you have muscle memory, you'll know how to hit the ball when you have the bat in your hand.
Mm,
So I
yeah.
explained mind that way, but also spirit is not necessarily a religious connotation, although it can be. I work
Yeah.
with a lot of students from Catholic schools, but it's just the core of who you are. And I say it's something inside you. It's your ways of knowing and your
Yeah.
connection. And I bring in, say, for athletes, I might bring in their predecessors on the wrestling mat, in the baseball field, like Babe Ruth, and talk about that. That's the spirit of their predecessors,
Mm,
and they're the ones who built up the sport and are teaching you what to do. So it's very interesting. They understand it from that perspective, that it's the core of who they are. And so I point to the chest and say,
mm, yeah.
this is who you are. And you have to really honor yourself from that perspective, like all your skills, even though you didn't win the wrestling tournament, you still have to honor you and
Mm,
treat those skills like pure gold for you and honor yourself. So that's
Yes.
how I connect body, mind, and spirit without talking about anybody's religion.
Mm. To